Hi, I'm Ron Bateman, the Sheriff of Anne Arundel County. Welcome to your Anne Arundel's Most Wanted program, a program where we showcase wanted criminals, highlight open cases, and look to you for tips. You, concerned citizens, that share my same goal, and that's keeping our community safe. You'd be proud to know that your calls have allowed us to put handcuffs on thousands of criminals. So sit back, set your DVR, or grab a pen and paper, and help do your part in catching criminals. You're watching Anne Arundel's Most Wanted. And of course, everybody recognizes our next guest, Justin Mulcahy from the Anne Arundel County Police Department. Welcome back to the show, my brother. And who did you bring for us today? Understand you have a burglary theme.
We've got a theme today. It's B&E. Burglaries galore. Our first suspect is Tyler Austin Mullen. He's a white male, 5'7", 150 pounds. Last known address for Mullen is 103 Carroll Road in Glen Burnie. He's also listed at 611 Wellham Avenue in Glen Burnie. Bottom line, he's probably frequenting the Glen Burnie area. So if anybody sees him, certainly call the number on that screen. He is wanted for a first-degree burglary. Does not have any registered vehicles in his name. He's also been known to possibly operate a 1996 Ford 2S. That might not be his vehicle, though, and that's also in Baltimore City, so he could be in Baltimore City. Second person on this burglary-themed Anne Arundel County edition is Jason William Teal, 35-year-old white male. He's described as being 6'2", 165 pounds. Possible address of 230 Bar Harbor Road, Pasadena, Maryland, but keep in mind those are subject to change. First-degree burglary warrant for him, and that's a commercial burglary where he gained access to a facility a couple months ago and took coaxial cable. He later scrapped it. He could be operating a green 2008 Nissan Sentra. Third person we're going to talk about on the show, you guessed it, for a burglary, first-degree burglary warrant. That's Alan Christian Caven Jr., 27-year-old white male. Caven is described as being 5'8", 185 pounds. Last known address for Caven, 6437 Mount Vernon Lane in Glen Burnie, Maryland. First-degree burglary warrant on file. That's for a residential burglary within the last couple months. He gained access to a home without authorization and has since been involved in a domestic assault as well, possibly at that Mount Vernon Lane address.
Thieves. Folks, if you know the whereabouts of any of those individuals, do not approach them. Call that number, 410-222-1490, or you know it, 911, 24 hours a day. We'll make sure we have someone check out your lead. Justin, thank you very much, buddy.
Sure, thank you.
And now it's my pleasure to introduce our next guest, Corporal Amy Megath from the Annapolis Police Department. Welcome back to the show, and who did you bring for us?
I've got three today. The first one is Sherman Marvell Branford. His date of birth is May 17th of 1965. He's a black male, 6 foot 1 inch tall, weighing 245 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. His last known address is 57 Spa Road in Annapolis. He has an arrest warrant for first and second degree assault, malicious destruction of property, reckless endangerment, and possession of a dangerous weapon. In this case, the victim reported Branford continually threatens to kill him. Branford kicked in the door to the victim's home and damaged it. Branford pulled a knife on the victim and held it to his throat and said, "I should kill you." Victim has also seen Branford with a gun. And the second subject we have is Reginald Demore King Jr. His date of birth is March 29th, 1991. He's a black male, 5 foot 9 inches tall, weighing 150 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. He has tattoos on his left shoulder and his right arm. His last known address is 77 Pleasant Street in Annapolis. He has one warrant for first and second degree assault, reckless endangerment, false imprisonment, and handgun on person. In August of this year, Annapolis police officers responded to a home for a report of a domestic assault. The female victim reported that she was assaulted over a period of hours by her ex-boyfriend, Reginald King. She was upset, crying, and told police that King was going to kill her. She said she and King had an ongoing disagreement and that she'd been in fear for her life for some time. On the day of the report, King began arguing with the woman, and when he pushed her down, she saw a handgun in his waistband. King then started strangling her, telling her he was going to kill her. King kept her in the home and would not let her out, and later kicked her, strangled her again, punched her, and pointed the gun at her. The woman was able to escape after King was distracted by his cell phone. King was able to flee the area before the woman contacted police. And the third subject we have is Kelly Murray. Date of birth is April 26, 1994. He's a black male, 6 foot 2 inches tall, weighing 210 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. His last known address is 15 Benz Drive, Apartment C in Annapolis, and he has one warrant for second-degree assault. In this case, officers responded to Arundel Medical Center for a report of a domestic assault. The adult female victim said she and Murray were in bed when he suddenly became irate. Murray punched the victim with his fists and then dragged her by the feet out of the bed. He continued to hit her in her legs and dragged her across the floor by her hair. Murray also hit the victim's head against the floor. The victim was able to exit the home and escape Murray. The victim was treated at Arundel Medical Center for her injuries.
Some serious domestic violence cases there.
Yes.
Folks, you know the whereabouts of any of those individuals. Do not approach them. Instead, you call that number on the screen, 410-222-1490 or 911, 24 hours a day. We'll make sure we have someone out to check out your lead. Keep those calls coming in, folks, as they are definitely paying off. Corporal Mega, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheriff.
And now from the Maryland State Police, Glen Burnie Barrack, Detective Sergeant Jimmy DeLay. Jimmy, welcome back to the show, buddy.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Who'd you bring for us?
We have two for you today. The first is Trey Markel Byes. He's a black male, 32 years old, with a birthday of November 25th, 1992. He's 6 foot, weighs approximately 165 pounds, black hair, brown eyes, with a last known address of 1516 Lodge Pole Court in Annapolis. On June 6th of this year at approximately 10 p.m., Maryland State Police Glen Burnie received multiple calls in regards to a single vehicle accident southbound 97 at Hawkins Road. Upon the trooper's arrival, he made contact with an Annapolis County deputy sheriff who advised he was on the scene seconds after the collision and observed the vehicle that appeared to be on fire. He approached the vehicle and observed the driver and only occupant unresponsive inside the vehicle. The deputy opened the door and pulled the driver out of the vehicle to a safe location. The deputy detected an odor of an alcoholic beverage on the driver's breath and person. The driver regained consciousness and began speaking. His speech was slurred and his eyes were bloodshot and glassy. Witnesses advised they knew the driver from high school. They advised they saw the vehicle traveling southbound 97 just north of Hawkins when it pulled over suddenly. The witnesses continued southbound 97 and a few moments later observed the driver pass them at a high rate of speed. They stated the vehicle then left the roadway, striking a center guardrail, causing the vehicle to go airborne. When the car came to rest and they were able to get to the driver, that's when they realized he was a friend from high school. When they got to him, he was awake, talking loudly, and appeared to be intoxicated. The trooper approached the driver, who was now strapped to the stretcher and very awake. He was yelling, appeared irritated, and was on his phone, using profanities and screaming at paramedics. The trooper entered the ambulance and advised the driver that he needed to settle down and cooperate. The driver stated he was Trey Markel Byes and admitted to drinking with friends. Byes was transported to the Arundel County Medical Center for treatment. Byes, however, left the hospital without being treated. The trooper located Byes on foot not far from the hospital. The trooper attempted to take Byes into custody for DUI, however, he took off running. Byes fled towards the emergency room bay and jumped a guardrail and laid on the ground. With the assistance of an Arundel County officer who was exiting the hospital, Byes was taken into custody. Byes was then transported from Arundel Medical Center to the Maryland State Police Glen Burnie Barracks, where he refused to submit to a breath test. While at the barrack, he continued to slur his words, and there was a strong odor of alcohol coming from his breath and person. He was processed and released to his cousin. Byes failed to appear for court on October 22nd of this year and now has an open bench warrant for the DUI. The second I have for you is Jerome Edward Harris. Mr. Harris is a black male, 51 years old, with a birthday of January 10th, 1963. He's 5'10", weighs approximately 230 pounds, has black hair and brown eyes, with a last known address of 1646 Woodtree Court, East Annapolis, Maryland. On May 12th, at approximately 12 p.m., a trooper was conducting speed enforcement on southbound Route 10 in the area of Maryland Route 648. The trooper observed a vehicle traveling at a high rate of speed. The vehicle was found to be traveling 70 and a posted 55. The trooper stopped the vehicle and made contact with the driver.
The driver was identified as Jerome Edward Harris. A check of Mr. Harris's driving record reveals his license was suspended and revoked. Harris also had an active arrest warrant through Anne Arundel County Sheriff's Office. Harris was arrested and taken before the Anne Arundel County Court Commissioner for an initial appearance, where he was held on a $7,500 bond and transported to the Jennifer Road Detention Center. Upon arrival at the detention center, a complete search was conducted of Mr. Harris. Upon completing the search, Mr. Harris was found to be concealing crack cocaine and heroin in his underwear. The recovered drugs were processed according to MSP policy. Harris was transported to the Maryland State Police Barracks for processing and taken in front of the District Court Commissioner on the drug charges as well. He was then transported back to the detention center. Harris failed to appear for court on November 3rd of this year and now has an open bench warrant for the CDS violations and the suspended and revoked license.
Great. Folks, you know the whereabouts of any of those individuals. You know I sound like a broken record every single time, but do not approach them. Instead, call that number, 410-222-1490 or 911, 24 hours a day. Sergeant DeLay, thank you very much, buddy.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Okay, and now for those subjects wanted by the Anne Arundel County Sheriff's Office. Let's see. Our first subject, that is going to be Walter Gerard Richardson, Jr. This subject is wanted for first-degree assault. That would be life-threatening contact. Assault as well as reckless endangerment. He is also wanted for violating the terms of his probation. On September 23rd of 2014, County Police responded to a residence of Gordon Court for a domestic violence complaint. Upon arrival, the officer met with the female victim and learned that their children's father had assaulted her earlier. She reported she and her boyfriend had broken up earlier in the year after dating for 8 years. They have 2 children in common and have an extensive history of domestic violence. The female estimated there had been approximately 10 serious incidents, with 6 of them reported to the Anne Arundel County Police or Howard County Police. That's sad. The victim stated that she and the kids went to the father's address to retrieve some items from him for the children. He started an argument with her because she was dating someone else. Richardson flipped out and started punching and slapping her in the face. The victim estimated he struck her 4 times on the side of her face. They were in the driveway near her vehicle when this occurred. When the female turned to walk away from Richardson, he approached her from behind and placed his forearms around her neck and began choking her while dragging her back towards the car. During this contact, Richardson stated, "I'm going to kill you." The female was unable to breathe and felt like she was losing consciousness. The attack stopped when Richardson's friends came out of the house and pulled him off of her. Good for them. She then got into her vehicle and left the address with the children. It apparently happened right in front of the children. Unreal. The violation of probation warrant rolled out on July the 29th of 2014 before the attack we just covered was reported. The reason for the violation, Richardson failed to report as directed, failed to make monthly payments, failed to work or attend school regularly as directed, and he failed to permit his supervising agent to visit him home unannounced. Richardson was placed under an additional condition to not possess, use, or sell any narcotic drug, controlled substance, yada yada. I bet you can guess it. He tested positive for marijuana on May the 21st, June 2nd, June 9th, June 18th, June 23rd, June 25th, and on June 30th of 2014. Oh, wow. On June the 4th, Richardson additionally tested positive for both opiates and marijuana. I would call that an epic fail. We are looking for Walter Gerard Richardson, Jr., who is a 30-year-old black male with a date of birth of October 29th of 1990. He's 5 foot 9 inches tall, weighs 160 pounds, has black hair and brown eyes. His last known address is 515 Manor Road in Glen Burnie. Now, our next subject is going to be Joshua Tyler Parker. This subject is wanted for armed robbery, conspiracy to commit both assault and theft under $100. Here's the story. On October 22, 2014, County Police took a report about threats received via text message. While our complainant was not certain who was sending the text, he did share with police that he had been robbed at gun and knife point by Joshua Parker and a second subject known to him as Mo during July 2014. Our victim stated that he was ambushed by the 2 males while he was skateboarding. The 2 jumped out from behind a bush and approached
Our complainant, Parker, was armed with a knife and Moe with a handgun. Parker demanded money and obtained $10 from our victim. The two then threatened him not to call the police because they knew where he lived. True enough, Parker lived just down the road from his victim. The complainant stated he did not contact police about the event because it was not worth something happening to him or his mom over $10. Unreal. So we are looking for Joshua Tyler Parker, who is a 23-year-old white male. The date of birth of March 17, 1991. He's 5 foot 9 inches tall, weighs 130 pounds, and has brown hair and hazel eyes. And his last known address is 201 Ferndale Avenue in Glen Burnie. Now, our next subject. It's going to be Melissa Ann Palmer. She also goes by Melissa Cool. So let's see what Miss Cool's all about. Either way, she is a convicted sex offender. That's right, on May the 24th, 2004, Melissa Ann, either Palmer or Cool, was convicted of second-degree sex offense and was required to register as a Tier 3 offender on the Maryland Registry. She last registered in person at the Eastern District Police Station on July the 24th, 2014. She was due to re-register on October 24th. County Police sent her a reminder letter before the date, but you can probably guess what didn't happen. Melissa Ann missed that deadline. Go figure. On July the 30th, 2014, she was arrested due to an outstanding warrant from York County, Pennsylvania. She was extradited and later released from the York County Prison. To remain in compliance with the Maryland Sex Offender Registry laws, she was required to re-register within 3 days upon release from incarceration. Nope, that didn't happen either. As of November 11th of 2014, she has failed to register with the Arundel County Police. So today, we are looking for Melissa Ann Palmer Cool. We need to get this squared away. Your help is greatly appreciated. Melissa Ann Palmer Cool is a 34-year-old white female with a date of birth of May the 10th, 1980. She's 5 foot 3 inches tall, weighs 140 pounds, has brown hair, blue eyes. Her last known address is 150 Oak Drive in Pasadena. Now, our next subject. That is going to be Stephen Michael Childress. Childress failed to appear for court on October 29, 2014 for his prior theft under $100 charge. He picked up a new bench warrant for that. He also violated terms of his probation on a previous theft under $1,000 charge by picking up new charges for theft under $100 on July 3, 2014. A criminal summons was issued for that. CDS possession, not marijuana. On July the 10th of 2014, he was charged and released for that, and 2 more CDS, possession not marijuana charges. On July 26th of 2014, he was charged and released for those infractions. As a result, a new bench warrant for VOP rolled out on October 24th of 2014. So we're looking for Stephen Michael Childress, who is turning 30 years old on December 20th. Handle your business, Mr. Childress. He's 5 foot 5 inches tall, weighs 130 pounds, and has blonde hair and blue eyes. And his last known address is 770 222nd Street in Pasadena. Now, our next subject, that is going to be Angela Michelle Mason. Mason failed to appear for court on October 27th of 2014 for her prior conspiracy to commit burglary charge. She picked up a new bench warrant for that. Mason is a 34-year-old white female with a date of birth of January 29th of 1980. She's 5 foot 4 inches tall, weighs 150 pounds, and has blonde hair and blue eyes. And her last known address is 715 Willoughby Run in Pasadena. Now, our next subject is going to be Jermaine Troy Spraggins. Spraggins failed to appear for court on June the 6th, 2014 for his prior CDS possession of paraphernalia charge. He picked up a new bench warrant for that. He also failed to appear for court on August 25th of 2014 for his prior driving on highway without required license and authorization charge. Again, another new bench warrant rolled out for that. So we're looking for Jermaine Troy Spraggins, who's a 39-year-old black male with a date of birth of April 20th, 1975. He's 6 foot 2 inches tall, weighs 200 pounds, and has black hair and brown eyes. His last known address is 1841 Village Square Court in Severn. Now, here are our 3 most wanted deadbeats. This information is provided to us by our hard-working friends at the Anne Arundel County Office of Child Support. Our first, DB, that's going to be Charles D. Brown. He is $102,034 in arrears for paying child support. Wow. He's a 49-year-old white male with a date of birth of December the 8th, 1965. Let's see, this is December. I got a good idea. Why don't you use some of your birthday money and put it towards your child support? He's 6 foot 2 inches tall, weighs 220 pounds, has brown hair and blue eyes, and his last known address is 84 Kinship Road in Dundalk. Next, we have Lawrence E. Coleman. He is $66,169.77 in arrears paying child support. Coleman is a white male who's turning 36 this month also. Do the right thing. Pay your child support because his date of birth is December 13th, 1978. He's 5 foot 8 inches tall, weighs 170 pounds, has brown hair and blue eyes. And his last known address is 1168 Nanticoke Street in Baltimore. Next, we have Kevin A. Burke, who is $23,621.12 in arrears paying child support. Burke is a 48-year-old black male with a date of birth of December 7th, 1966. Another December, baby. You're getting some birthday money. Put it towards your child support. He's 5 foot 10 inches tall, weighs 160 pounds, has black hair and brown eyes. His last known address is 3506 Fairview Road in Gwynn Oak, Maryland. Now, I want to thank a few people that allow this show to happen every single month. First, I want to welcome our new county executive, Steve Shue. I also want to welcome the new Chief of Police for Anne Arundel County, my friend Tim Altamari. Of course, our Chief of Police in Annapolis City, Mike Pristoop. I also want to thank the Superintendent of the Maryland State Police, Marcus Brown. And I also want to report to the audience, K9 Rocky, who's been on this show before with his handler, Deputy Sheriff Michelle Goodman, is going to retire after 10 years of service. I got to tell you, Rocky has been outstanding with our agency, serving in a capacity where he checks the building and keeps us all safe every single day at the courthouse. He's an award-winning, nationally recognized dog. So we're really going to miss Rocky after 10 years of dedicated service. Congratulations, Deputy Michelle Goodman. Folks, remember, let's keep Anne Arundel County safe. I'm still your sheriff, Ron Bateman. We'll see you next time on Anne Arundel's Most Wanted.